Let me ask you a question. If your job disappeared tomorrow, what skill would still pay you in 2026? Not your degree, not your title, not how long you've been doing what you do, only your skills. And today, I want to show you the 9 skills that will make you valuable in the future, no matter what changes. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a hard truth. In 2026, the marketplace will not pay you for your potential. It will not pay you for your intentions. And it definitely will not pay you for your opinions. It will pay you for value. And value is not determined by how hard you work. It is determined by how useful you are. That's why today I want to share with you 9 skills, not degrees, not job titles, not excuses, that will make you valuable in 2026 and beyond. Skill first, the ability to learn fast. The world is moving too quickly for slow learners. What you know today has an expiration date. The valuable person is not the one who knows the most, but the one who can learn, unlearn, and relearn the fastest. If you can learn faster than change happens, you will always win. Skill second, communication that moves people. If you can't communicate, you can't lead. If you can't persuade, you can't sell. If you can't explain value, people won't see it. The marketplace doesn't reward the best ideas. It rewards the best explained ideas. Learn to speak clearly. Learn to write persuasively. Learn to make people feel your message. Skill third, sales thinking, even if you hate sales. Everything in life involves a sale. You sell ideas, you sell yourself, you sell solutions. Sales is simply the ability to transfer belief. And in 2026, the person who can create trust and close decisions will never be broke. Skill fourth, problem solving. Money doesn't chase talent. Money chases solutions. The bigger the problem you can solve, the bigger the check that follows. Stop asking, how do I make money? Start asking, whose problem can I solve? That question alone can change your future. Skill fifth, digital leverage. In 2026, leverage is digital. If your work only reaches one person at a time, your income is capped. But when you learn to use digital platforms, systems, and tools, your value multiplies. One message can reach thousands. One system can work while you sleep. Leverage turns effort into assets. Skill sixth, critical thinking. Information is everywhere. Wisdom is rare. The valuable person is not the loudest voice, but the clearest thinker. Learn to analyze. Learn to question. Learn to decide. In a noisy world, clarity is power. Skill seventh, emotional discipline. Talent without discipline self-destructs. In 2026, the most valuable people will be those who can control their emotions under pressure. They don't quit easily. They don't react impulsively. They stay focused when others fall apart. Self-mastery always precedes success. Skill eighth, adaptability. The future does not belong to specialists who refuse to change. It belongs to flexible thinkers. Industries will shift, tools will evolve, roles will disappear. If you can adapt, you become irreplaceable. Skill ninth, value-based mindset. This is the foundation of all the others. A value-based mindset asks, how can I contribute more? How can I create results? How can I become useful? When you think in value, opportunities find you. Let me leave you with this. Time does not make you valuable. Titles do not make you valuable. Years of experience do not make you valuable. Skills make you valuable. And the right skills don't just change your income, they change your identity. Decide today to become someone the future cannot ignore. Because in 2026, the most valuable currency won't be money, it will be you. That statement alone challenges everything most people were taught growing up. We were told that if we worked hard, stayed late, struggled longer, and sacrificed more, success would eventually reward us. But effort by itself has never been the currency of the marketplace. Value has always been, effort is common. Everyone is tired. Everyone is busy. Everyone is working hard at something. If effort were enough, most people would already be rich, fulfilled, and free. But they're not. Why? Because the marketplace doesn't compensate exhaustion. It compensates usefulness. You can work 12 hours a day, digging a hole in the wrong place, and still get paid nothing. Meanwhile, someone else can solve a single important problem in 1 hour and get paid more than you earn in a year. The difference isn't how hard they worked. The difference is the value they created. Effort is internal. Value is external. Effort is about how much energy you spend. Value is about how much impact you make. And impact is what people are willing to pay for. In 2026, this gap will become even wider. Technology doesn't reward effort, it replaces it. Machines don't get tired. Software doesn't complain. Automation doesn't ask for overtime. If your value is based only on effort, you are competing with systems that never sleep. But value cannot be automated so easily. Value is judgment. Value is creativity. Value is problem solving. Value is understanding people, seeing patterns, making decisions, and producing outcomes that matter. This is why two people can be in the same company, with the same job title, working the same hours, and earning completely different results in life. One focuses on effort. The other focuses on value. One asks, how hard am I working? The other asks, how useful am I becoming? The marketplace doesn't ask how long something took you. It asks whether the problem is solved. It doesn't care how stressful the process was. It only cares about the result. Results are valuable. Stories about effort are not. When you shift your thinking from effort to value, everything changes. You stop chasing hours and start developing skills. You stop trying to be busy and start trying to be effective. You stop asking for opportunities and start becoming the kind of person opportunities look for. Value-based people invest differently. They read differently. They learn differently. They choose skills over comfort and growth over familiarity. They don't just do more, they become more. And here's the most important part. Value compound. DS. Effort resets every day. You wake up tired again, but value stacks. A skill learned once can pay you for years. A solution created once can help thousands. A system built once can work long after you stop touching it. In the future, your income will not be tied to how hard you work, but to how hard you are to replace. And the hardest people to replace are not the hardest workers, they are the highest value creators. So if you want to win in 2026, stop glorifying effort. Start engineering value. Because effort might earn applause, but value earns freedom. Most people trade time for money and never stop to question the deal. They show up, put in the hours, get paid once, and then start over the next day. When the work stops, the income stops. That is not because they lack effort or ambition, but because they are relying on something that was never designed to last. Time. Time only pays once. Skills do not. A skill is an asset. Once acquired, it doesn't disappear when the day ends. It travels with you. It grows with use. It increases in value as demand increases. And most importantly, it can be applied again and again without starting from zero. Think about the difference between pushing a heavy cart and building a wheel. Pushing the cart takes strength every single time. Building the wheel takes effort once, but then it changes everything. Skills are the wheel. They reduce friction, increase speed, and multiply results. In 2026, this distinction will matter more than ever. The world is moving toward leverage, scalability, and efficiency. The people who win will not be the ones who work the longest hours, but the ones whose skills allow their work to travel further than they do. When you develop a valuable skill, you stop needing permission to earn. You can use that skill in different industries, different countries, and different formats. You can teach it, sell it, apply it, license it, or systemize it. One skill can create multiple income streams because it solves multiple problems. This is why two people can earn vastly different incomes with the same number of hours. One sells their time, the other sells their skill. Time is limited, skills are expandable. BOP-ER skills also compound in a way time never can. The first year of learning a skill might feel slow and frustrating. The second year becomes easier. By the third year, others start calling you talented. What they're really seeing is repetition paying off. Every use sharpens the edge. Every challenge increases precision. Over time, the skill begins to work for you. And here's what most people miss. Skills stack. When you combine one skill with another, their value multiplies. Communication plus technical ability. Strategy plus execution. Creativity plus discipline. The more skills you stack, the more unique and irreplaceable you become. This is also why skills create freedom. If one opportunity disappears, another appears because the skill remains. Jobs can vanish. Titles can be taken away. Markets can shift. But a skill cannot be outsourced from your mind. The future belongs to people who treat learning like investment, not like school. They don't ask, do I need this right now? They ask, will this skill still pay me in 5 years? They choose skills with longevity, relevance, and leverage. Skills don't just increase income, they increase confidence. When you know you can create value anywhere, fear loses its grip. You are no longer dependent on a single employer, platform, or system. In the end, wealth is not built by working harder every year. It's built by getting better. Skills pay repeatedly because they outlive effort. And a person who understands this stops chasing paychecks and starts building a future. We live in a time where knowledge has never been more accessible. Answers that once required years of study, expensive education, or exclusive networks are now available in seconds. Tutorials, strategies, frameworks, and step-by-step guides are everywhere. You can learn almost anything without paying a single dollar. Yet despite this abundance of information, results remain scarce. The problem is not lack of knowledge. The problem is lack of action. Most people confuse consuming information with progressing in life. They read, watch, listen, highlight, and save, but they never move. They feel productive because they are busy learning, yet nothing in their life actually changes. Information becomes entertainment, not transformation. Execution is uncomfortable. It demands decision. It requires responsibility. When you execute, there is no hiding behind theory. You find out quickly what works and what doesn't. That feedback is humbling, and most people would rather stay in the safety of prepa ration than face the discomfort of practice. In 2026, this gap will widen even further. Artificial intelligence can generate plans, ideas, and explanations instantly. Access to information will no longer be a competitive advantage. Everyone will have it. The only advantage left will be the ability to act on it. Execution is what turns knowledge into value. An idea in your head is worth nothing. An idea applied is worth everything. The marketplace doesn't reward what you know. It rewards what you do with what you know. This is why people with less education sometimes outperform those with more. It's not because they are smarter, it's because they are decisive. They move while others wait. They test while others theorize. They learn by doing instead of waiting to feel ready. Execution also builds clarity. Information promises certainty, but execution delivers truth. You can read 100 books about swimming, but you will not understand water until you get in it. Action reveals gaps in knowledge that information alone will never expose. Another reason execution is rare is because it removes excuses. When you act, you can no longer blame lack of resources, timing, or permission. You either produce results or you adjust. That level of accountability is uncomfortable. So many people avoid it. But execution creates momentum. Small actions compound into confidence. Progress creates energy. Once you start moving, learning becomes practical instead of theoretical. You begin to filter information differently, looking only for what helps you improve your execution. The future will not be dominated by the most informed people. It will be dominated by the most effective ones. Those who can take incomplete information and still move forward. Those who can make decisions without perfect clarity. Those who understand that action creates understanding, not the other way around. Information is free and it will only become cheaper. Execution, however, will remain rare because it requires courage, discipline, and ownership. And that is exactly why it will always be valuable. In a world full of ideas, the advantage belongs to the people who build. Most people spend their lives chasing money, wondering why it always feels just out of reach. They change jobs, negotiate salaries, search for better opportunities, and hope that somehow income will increase. But money is not something you chase. It is something that responds. It responds to impact. Income is not random. It is a reflection. It reflects how many people you help and how deeply you help them. The greater the problem you solve, the greater the reward that follows. This is not philosophy. This is how the marketplace works. If you help one person solve a small problem, you get paid a little. If you help many people solve a meaningful problem, you get paid more. Scale and significance determine compensation, not effort or intention. Impact begins with usefulness. When you create something that saves time, reduces pain, increases clarity, or produces results, you create value. And value naturally attracts money. The marketplace does not reward need, it rewards contribution. In 2026, this truth will be impossible to ignore. Automation will handle routine tasks. Efficiency will be expected. What will stand out is meaningful human impact, creativity, judgment, insight, leadership. The ability to improve outcomes in ways machines cannot fully replicate. People who focus only on income limit themselves. They ask, what can I get? Impact-driven people ask, what can I give that matters? That question changes everything. It shifts attention from self to service, from short-term gain to long-term relevance. Impact also creates leverage. When your work affects more people or produces better results, your income can grow without a proportional increase in effort. Teaching one skill to 10 people pays differently than teaching it to 10,000. Creating one solution that scales changes the rules entirely. This is why some people earn in days what others earn in years. Not because they work harder, but because their impact is broader. Their decisions affect outcomes at scale. Their work changes systems, not just tasks. Impact compounds. When people experience real value, they talk about it, they share it, they return for more. Trust grows, reputation grows, and income follows naturally. No chasing, no begging, no forcing, focusing. Focusing on impact also brings clarity to what you could learn. You stop collecting random skills and start developing capabilities that actually matter. You align your growth with real-world problems instead of abstract goals. And here's the paradox. When you focus on impact, income often exceeds expectations. But when you focus only on income, impact shrinks. People sense the difference. The market responds accordingly. In the end, money is simply feedback. It tells you how valuable your contribution is at scale. If income is low, it's not an insult. It's information. It points you toward areas where your impact can grow. Stop asking how to earn more. Start asking how to matter more. Because when you increase your impact, income has no choice but to follow. For generations, people believe security came from stability, a single career path, a long-term job, a predictable routine. The promise was simple: stay loyal, follow the rules, and you'll be safe. But that version of security no longer exists, and pretending it does is one of the most dangerous mistakes anyone can make. The world is changing too fast for static plans. Industries rise and fall, technologies evolve overnight, roles that were essential yesterday can become irrelevant tomorrow. In this environment, stability is fragile. Adaptability is durable. Security is no longer about holding on to one position. It's about being able to move when the ground shifts. The person who survives and thrives is not the one who resists change, but the one who responds to it intelligently. In 2026, change will not ask for permission. It will not slow down to let you catch up. It will reward those who are flexible and leave behind those who are rigid. The ability to adapt quickly will matter more than experience, tenure, or credentials. Adaptability begins with mindset. Fixed thinkers cling to what worked before. Adaptive thinkers ask what works now. They are not emotionally attached to old methods. They are committed to results. When circumstances change, they change strategies without losing momentum. This is why adaptable people appear confident even in uncertainty. They trust their ability to learn, adjust, and recover. They don't need guarantees because they know they can navigate unfamiliar territory. Adaptability also means continuous learning, not learning for comfort, but learning for relevance. It's the willingness to be a beginner again, to update skills before they expire, to notice shifts early instead of reacting late. The marketplace doesn't punish change, it punishes refusal to change. When people say the world is unfair, what they often mean is that it changed without their consent. But the world has never asked permission. It only responds to those who pay attention. Adaptable people turn disruption into opportunity. When systems break, they see openings. When tools evolve, they experiment. When roles disappear, they redefine themselves. They don't wait for clarity before moving. They move to create clarity. Security today is not found in predictability. It is found in capability, the capability to learn fast, to pivot smoothly, to remain useful under new conditions. That capability cannot be outsourced or automated away. Rigid people fear change because it exposes what they haven't developed. Adaptable people welcome change because it reveals their strength. They understand that comfort is temporary, but growth creates resilience. In the future, the safest place will not be inside a job title or a company. It will be inside a person who knows how to evolve, someone who can reskill, reframe, and reposition without panic. Adaptability is not optional anymore. It is the foundation of modern security. And those who embrace it won't just survive the future, they'll shape it. Skills by themselves are neutral. They don't guarantee success or failure. Two people can possess the same abilities, the same knowledge, even the same opportunities, and still produce completely different outcomes. The difference is rarely talent. It is almost always mindset. Mindset determines how you use what you know. It shapes how you respond to pressure, uncertainty, feedback, and failure. A strong skill set in a weak mindset produces inconsistent results. A growing mindset, however, turns ordinary skills into extraordinary outcomes. Your mindset decides whether a skill expands or expires. When challenges appear, one person sees proof they are not ready, while another sees evidence of what they need to improve. This ill is the same. The interpretation is different, and interpretation controls action. In 2026, skills will be easier to acquire than ever. Tools can teach faster. Platforms can distribute knowledge instantly. But mindset will remain rare because it cannot be downloaded. It must be developed through discipline, self-awareness, and choice. A scarcity mindset limits skill. It asks, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if someone else is better? That mindset shrinks effort, delays action, and avoids exposure. Over time, skills stagnate not because they lack potential, but because fear prevents their use. A growth-oriented mindset multiplies skill. It asks, what can I learn? How can I improve? What's the next adjustment? This mindset turns mistakes into data and obstacles into instruction. Every attempt strengthens the skill instead of weakening confidence. Mindset also affects consistency. Skills improve with repetition, but repetition requires patience. Without the right mindset, people quit too early. They expect quick mastery and lose motivation when progress feels slow. With the right mindset, slow progress is expected and embraced. Persistence becomes natural. Another way mindset multiplies skill is through responsibility. People with a strong mindset don't wait to be chosen. They choose themselves. They apply skills before they feel ready. They take ownership of results instead of blaming circumstances. This ownership accelerates growth. Mindset shapes how you receive feedback. One person hears correction as an attack, another hears it as guidance. The first becomes defensive. The second becomes better. Over time, that difference compounds into massive performance gaps. Your mindset also determines the ceiling of your skills. If you believe your abilities are fixed, you stop stretching. If you believe they can expand, you keep pushing. Skills respond to belief. Not because belief is magical, but because belief influences effort, focus, and resilience. The marketplace doesn't reward the most skilled person on paper. It rewards the person who applies skills consistently under real conditions. Pressure exposes mindset. Stress reveals belief systems. Those with the right mindset perform when it matters most. In the end, skills are tools. Mindset is the operator. A powerful tool in the wrong hands creates little value. But even modest tools, guided by the right mindset, can build something remarkable. If you want your skills to work harder for you, don't just invest in learning, invest in thinking. Because when mindset grows, skills don't just improve, they multiply. The future is not something you wait for, it is something you prepare for. In 2026, the world will not reward effort alone, information alone, or intention alone. It will reward value. It will reward action. It will reward people who chose to grow before they were forced to. You don't need to predict the future to win in it. You just need to become valuable enough that the future has room for you. Skills that pay repeatedly. execution that turns knowledge into results, impact that income follows, adaptability that replaces outdated security, and a mindset strong enough to multiply everything you build. The question is no longer whether the world will change. The only question is whether you will. So don't leave here motivated. Motivation fades. Leave here committed. Committed to learning, committed to applying, committed to becoming someone the marketplace cannot ignore. Because when you become valuable, opportunity doesn't need to find you. It already knows where you are.